Hello, my name is Amanda Neely. I am a fourth year doctoral student in clinical psychology at the Feinberg School of Medicine at Northwestern, and I'm going to be speaking today with Dr. Molly Losh.
Hi, I'm Molly Losh. I'm a professor in the School of Communication in the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders, also in psychiatry and linguistics. And I also am a co-director of DevSci's Training Center for Transdisciplinary Studies, and also co-leading the graduate student cluster through TGS. So very happy to be here and excited to talk with you, Amanda.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for the wisdom that you have to share. I wanted to start by just asking, thinking about how students get into research in the first place, what are some tips you have for students who really are interested in science or want to get involved in developmental science? How would you say they should get started?
Talking to your professor, talking to your TAs in the classes that you are really enjoying, or if you have heard about a great class or a great lab, getting in touch with that professor taking their classes, looking at their lab website. All of these ways of essentially leading you to a point of contact to the person who's doing the kind of research that you're interested in. And not just the professor, but again, the TAs in the class, the grad students in that lab. Also, you often can connect with undergraduates who are already in that lab. All those are really, I think, important ways of getting involved in the lab. But I know for me, the classes that I teach are a wonderful way of connecting with students. I'm so thrilled always when students tell me that they're interested in the work that we're doing in my lab, because we always talk, I teach a class on autism and then a class on neurodevelopmental disabilities. And so we talk a lot about the work that we do in the lab. And when students contact me and say, I'd really love to learn more about this, it's always, I'm so excited to talk with them and trust that your professors are going to be excited to talk with you about that as well.
I think that's a really important point because it can feel very intimidating to
Yeah.
talk to a professor who's an expert in their field and who really knows their research in and out. But the truth is, we do this work because we love it. And you teach classes on the subjects you teach in part because you're very interested. So it makes sense that you'd be excited to hear from people who are sharing that interest. And what stands out to you about, ways students have approached you? Like, what is a really good way for a student to express interest?
I, you know, doing well in a class doesn't hurt. So if you're interested in that professor's research, try to do well in that class. I think, what is thinking back on students who have done so well in the lab. So many of them have come from, and you don't have to be in a class, but that's often the route. They dove into their papers. They were really interested in some of the topics that we discussed, and went to office hours. They engaged with discussions in class and with the TAs and really just took initiative to express their interests. So that always really stands out, I think. And some of the students who've taken that initiative, I think, kind of thinking back to those who've been really successful in the lab, those are the students who sort of took that path.
Thank you so much. That makes a lot of sense.